Hello folks! Welcome to the channel. I'm happy you choose to watch one of my videos. Today I want to show you my focke-wulf 190 A-8 1/72nd scale from Airfix. Okay, what's in the box? We have 3 sprues with plastic parts plus 1 with clear parts. Total number of parts is 53. And apart from that, we have small decal sheet and the instruction manual. The quality of the parts, I would say, is good. Instruction is also quite informative, so all is okay. At the back of the box, we can see one painting version of the aircraft, and guess what? I'm going to do this one. We have the pilot figure included in the kit and also some cool features, like the separate parts for closed undercarriage if we decide to make the model look like it is flying, which is cool. And if, as I did, if we want to make the undercarriage open, Airfix gives us the wheels already flattened. So if mounted properly, the model looks like the tires are real and flattened by the weight of the plane, which is cool. Overall, it's a simple kit and also one of the cheapest on the market. As such, I think it's worth the money. Fit is not always perfect and some parts, as you will see later, could be done better, but with a little bit of time invested, I think the result of the build can be good. Okay, let's start. After studying the instruction, I decided to paint some parts while still on the sprue. I recommend this solution. Some small parts can be tricky later on to paint, and this way you can have them still and it's easier. I used Vallejo Model Air black color, and the intention was to use it as a primer. After the cockpit was glued together, I have painted it again with Vallejo, and I also used the dry brush technique to highlight edges, and these parts of the cockpit, the paint might have been scraped or peeled off by day-to-day usage. Decals of the instrument panel were applied with help of the decal set and decal fix solution from Amomig. I also used black wash to get a more three-dimensional look of the interior. But, as it turned out later, all this effort is barely visible when we close the fuselage. Yeah, have it in mind. Fuselage and wings were put together with the help of clamps and tape. The engine cowling, this one part is terrible actually, and again I put some effort to fill up the all holes here and sand it down, but after the propeller is mounted, this section is not visible, so you can save time and just mount it as it is. Assembling of the top engine cover with the guns may be tricky as well, and in my case it required some sanding before it fit, but otherwise the parts fit is okay. Some putty is needed anyway, and after this is done and sanded, I paint the whole model in black. The intention was to see better the spots and all imperfections in the fit of the model, so yeah, the one unified color helps to, you know, bring it up, and I decided to apply putty one more time in some spots. While I wait for the putty to dry, I'm masking the canopy, and to do that I used thin masking tape on the edges and later fill the rest with Vallejo masking fluid. I glue the canopy in place with PVA glue and paint the whole model with Vallejo black once again. And this time I think the result is okay, so it's time for me to start the camouflage paint. I use Vallejo RLM 75 and RLM 74, and I paint each panel of the fuselage and wings separately. For the underside I use Vallejo light blue color RLM 76, and again each panel is painted separately to make them look more diverse. Time for mottling, and here this is the first time I'm doing it. Sorry. I use again Vallejo paint, but this time heavily diluted with thinner. And I think, as for the first time, the result is okay. After the paint is dry, I spray the whole model with Vallejo gloss varnish to prepare it for decals. Decals are set again with Ammo-Meek decal solution, and once done I covered them again with gloss varnish to protect the decals. Yeah, and this is how it looks after all this is done. Just final touch, and I use wash and oil paint to replicate some exhaust smoke and exploitation marks. And the final result is as you can see here. Some tricks or maybe tips for you that I learned during this build. First one is regarding the paint colors. I'm using airbrush, and for this I got used to Vallejo paints, but on the box Airfix gives you Humbrol colors that you are supposed to use for this aircraft, and if you don't have them, yeah, what to do? You can of course go and buy Humbrol paints. You can search the internet to find replacement, but I think there is a simpler way, and there's something like paint converters that can help in this case. I use an application called Hobby Color Converter. I think it saves time, you can just try it. Another thing, before decals I always spray the model with gloss varnish. This way I try to minimize the risk of the silvering effect. Also, regarding this very aircraft, if you make something, did something wrong or make mistakes during the cockpit assembly or painting, don't worry, it won't be visible. So, fourth one. Regarding oil paints, I recommend it because I think they're very good to add some weathering effects. They dry slowly, and even if I put too much, I have time to correct or adjust the way how I apply the paint. There are a lot of tutorials on how to use the oils on YouTube, so I recommend check them out. Every time I build a new model, it's an opportunity for me to check or to learn something about the aircraft itself, and also the times when it was built and in use. So I would like to share some facts about this focke-wulf 190 that you may find interesting. The estimated number of FW190 aircraft built is over 20,000, so it's quite a big number, and in 1996 16 of them were reproduced, so I think there is high probability that you will see them during one of the air shows. Also, FW190 was 1,500 kilos heavier than Messerschmitt Bf 109. And despite of this difference in weight, still FW190 was faster, 16 kilometers per hour faster than Bf109 G6. So it's quite a good comparison. The first time when the Allied forces met FW190 was in early 1941, and back then it was superior over the Rewiev Spitfire Mark V, which is quite an accomplishment, I would say. And last but not least, did you know that Focke-Wulf company still exists? Well, I didn't, and actually over the years the company has merged with other companies, and long story short, all together they formed the European Aeronautic Defense and Space Company that has been reorganized later and is known to these days as Airbus. Yeah, it was quite a surprise for me as well. Let me know in the comments what you think or what I can do better. If you like the video, please subscribe and stay tuned, as the next one will be about the Grumman F6F Hellcat. See you!